check in with Tyler about the draft, and then talk about the draft. Saddle up, folks. It's going to be a big one. Crack a cold one, kick your feet up, and enjoy the show. Oh, hello, everyone.
Good evening.
Welcome to another presentation of What the Heck. Part sports, part pop culture. 100%
Real fun. Tonight's all sports, though.
Sports ball. We have to. It's like Christmas week.
It is.
Anyway, I'm Colin Frederick with Jake Reese and Tyler Heck. Live from the new studio.
I'm super pumped, by the way.
It just feels right.
Feels like home.
It does. We've got a bright orange wall ahead of us.
That's awesome.
And I can't post a picture of it yet because I have one more thing in the works.
It's a secret.
Yeah.
You'll get to see it.
But soon we'll share the joy of the new studio. We've got some windows open because there's not 85,000 cars driving past
Yeah, just 5 or 6.
at 85,000 miles an hour.
Yeah. The mileage, cumulative mileage stays the same.
Similar, very similar. No, but
Country living.
country living. We
Looks good.
just put the studio back together immediately before the show.
Like-
Literally a half hour ago.
Like built the desks and
Connected everything.
hooked everything back up. Struggled with why we couldn't hear anything. Sounded like aliens for a minute.
I hope everyone can hear us now.
Yeah, this
It'd be
is gonna
really
suck
disappointing.
if this episode is disappointing, but
Because it might be one of the most exciting episodes in a while.
ever.
At least for us. And I'm sure some of our listeners will like it. Some of them will
Well,
definitely not.
2 out of the 5 listeners might.
Yes.
Someone has to care. The NFL draft is upon us, ladies and germs. And
48 hours.
as some big draft nerds, we decided to dedicate an episode to it because, well, it's our podcast, and we can talk about whatever we want.
Yeah. If you don't like it, wait till next
And
week.
to be honest, we haven't gotten many suggestions on what we should talk
No.
about.
Well, no,
That, and we haven't got
Just
any
saying.
sponsors for a while. A little disappointed in our hecklers.
that's true, but we do still have root beer barrels, which
And we've all been slamming down the
Strawberry
airheads tonight.
Yeah, as we were moving boxes out of the way to set up the desk, we were like,
Move
found a
one box.
We found
eat
a
one
box
Airhead.
that was just all of the remaining sponsor snacks we had. So that was pleasant. I should really start incorporating airheads. Root beer barrels into my life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Put a couple in your pocket, kind of like the like butterscotch candies that your grandpa has
like
at
if
his
you're
house.
An old
Yep.
person. Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to be old so I can do that and not
You can do it now.
be made fun of.
Don't let your dreams be dreams.
Do it now.
Oh.
It's okay. Just don't share with your students.
So there's construction going on out there.
I thought maybe Euchre's tail was hitting the door, but
Well, folks, without further to-do, I always like when people say words like that wrong.
without further ado-s.
Without further some dudes. Tyler, what the heck?
Let's just jump right into it.
There's
We're
no-
all excited about the draft.
There's no time like the present.
And maybe I am jumping a segment ahead here, but we got to talk about it.
Really, it all kind of blends together.
I think the draft can be segment 1, 2, and 3.
That's what it's going to turn into
Yep,
because I'm going to start it with this question.
Hit me.
Who
Oh, yeah.
is going number 1 overall?
Rashad Bateman.
Well, I think that's done deal.
He's going 29.
Yeah. What I think is more interesting is, like, who's going.
Who's going 3 to the
3?
Niners? Because I really strongly don't think Mac Jones should be number 3.
They said, who was it between Mac Jones
Trey
and
Lance.
Trey
Trey
Lance?
Lance.
And those are not the 2 guys I thought were going to be there at 3. Sorry, they were going to be there at 3, not the guys who I thought were going to be picked at 3.
Right.
Yeah, Trey Lance is very much a projection and a project moving forward.
Yeah.
He-
He's
this
very
was-
athletic.
Which would be fine for the Niners with
Right.
Jimmy still there.
Here's my favorite.
But sorry to interrupt you. Did you guys catch Kyle Shanahan's response to ESPN when they asked him if Jimmy Garoppolo would be on his team by the end of the weekend?
I saw that it was a thing, but I didn't watch the video.
He said, I can't guarantee that any of us will be alive by Sunday, so I can't say that I know what will happen.
Wow, great answer.
Like, wait,
Cool,
what?
Kyle?
Are we dying?
What a guy!
I guess so. And I saw a meme on Facebook that showed, like, Thanos with infinite like, endgame. He's like, see? He doesn't know if any of us will be alive,
Well,
so that's a
he's not
decent
wrong.
answer.
My favorite description of Trey Lance was a picture of him, and it said, Trey Lance looks like the actor who would play Patrick Mahomes in a movie about Tom Brady or something.
I did see that.
It's pretty good.
Speaking of that, I heard someone describe Zach Wilson as Mormon Patrick Mahomes.
Hey, if you're getting compared to Patrick Mahomes in any way, it can't be a bad thing. I mean, it could be.
It would, yeah,
Right.
he does kind of talk like a frog.
Did you see the
Not just
side-by-side
off-road.
picture of Tom Brady's draft picture where he's in his boxers and Mac Jones in the locker room smoking a cigar with his shirt off? He's just like, it had said like something like, these guys are comparable dad bod quarterbacks or something like that.
Yeah, except Mac Jones is like even a little chubbier.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Tom Brady was just like awkward.
Skin and bones.
Yeah, there was really nothing to him. What did I ask?
You asked who's going number one
Who's
overall.
going number one?
Trevor, I think that's a done deal.
I think so, too.
And number 2 is Wilson.
I think so, too.
then.
I do think now, I think the Niners messed everything up with the whole Mac Jones, Trey Lance thing, and I do think Justin Fields drops.
How far?
I don't know how far, but I think he drops farther than.
So I saw a
Which
buddy
is
sent me
stupid.
a
He's the best of them.
A buddy sent me a thing today from one of the ESPN guys where they did a mock in their final mock draft, had a trade, had the Bears trading up to 14 with the Vikings and drafting Fields at 14.
If
First
the
off,
Vikings did that,
The Bears are
they
not the
suck.
Vikings are not going to trade with the Bears in their division to allow them to get a franchise quarterback.
Correct.
Second off, I don't believe Fields will be there at 14.
Also correct.
I don't think so either.
So-
I thought I read somewhere that they're saying there could be 6 quarterbacks taken in the top 10.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous.
Totally.
But there are a lot of teams that need quarterbacks.
Yeah. Also totally correct.
And Houston might be one of them at this point. Who
Alle-
knows what's going on with
allegedly.
Deshaun?
Allegedly,
Well,
yeah.
that's what I mean. We don't know. They got to be ready, though, just in case,
They
right?
should have traded him when they had the chance.
They
Yeah.
should have.
Some sucker would be having him deal with his issues right now on
The
their own.
Bears, I'd deal with it.
Well, maybe.
What do you mean? You guys got your quarterback.
Yeah, the Red Rocket.
Why would you even trade up for Justin Fields? Andy Dalton is a proven winner.
Being a Bears fan makes
14
me so
years
sad.
ago. I would agree
Not
with you. I'm sad
Always.
Come
oftentimes.
on, they're gonna draft someone good. They
Who?
always draft someone
No,
other
they
than a
don't.
quarterback. David
Who?
Montgomery,
Jeez.
Tariq
Is
Cohen.
David Montgomery, nah.
Cohen was a
Lesties.
stretch. He was
Well,
fucking.
okay.
David Montgomery's backup is in this draft and is pretty good. Just telling you. It's like college backup.
Oh, his
I was
college
I was
back.
waiting for you to be
I'm
like, okay, and who's that?
No.
They didn't draft a quarterback that was good in their last.
Well, they've never
quarterback
drafted
pick.
a quarterback, but they've drafted some pretty decent players.
Urlacher.
That's the first one that popped into my head. Pat Tillman, not Pat Tillman. Peanut
Tillman.
Chuck. He's an FBI agent. Agent Tillman.
Yeah, he is. That's awesome.
maybe.
No.
No, really,
confirmed.
he is. After his NFL career.
That's the thing.
Oh, wait, what? Chuck? What's his actual name?
Charles.
Charles. He's
God.
like, who the hell is Chuck?
Chuck
Because I've always really ever referred to him as Peanut.
Oh, did you say the P word?
Yeah, Peanut Punch.
Yep.
Whoa.
Okay, there you have it. Trevor Lawrence next.
Segment 2, the draft.
How into it are you? On a scale of 1 to 10, how big of a draft nerd?
I'll start because I don't
Tell
think
me.
I'm as big as a draft nerd as you
That's
two.
disappointing.
So if you guys are definitely 10s, I'm probably about a 7.7, maybe a 7.8.
Oh, we're going on a
See,
Lots of
I was
attempts.
gonna put myself as an 8.
No way. You're
Oh,
more, dude. You
Jesus.
print out a book. You got a binder. Like I saw all your favorite work. You're a bigger nerd than that.
Yeah.
The only thing you don't do is like publish mock drafts for people to look at,
That's
and
true.
maybe
Which,
you do
if
that.
you did, I might win a pool this year.
I don't
so.
publish them. I just do them for myself.
Well, you should start a pool and charge all your friends $10
Honestly,
so you
I
can
wouldn't
take
be
all their
mad
money.
about putting a pool in the yard for swimming.
I wouldn't be upset about helping do that
There you go.
or watching it be done.
I wouldn't be upset about swimming in it.
Well, we're settled then.
Okay,
We got all aspects covered.
Get in the
Katie, get on
pool.
that.
Back to the draft pool. No, I think I'm just going to throw myself at a 7. You guys are definitely higher than
Well,
that.
now that you said you're going to be at an 8, and you put yourself at a 7,
If you're an
I
8, then
feel
I'm
like
a 5.
I'm in between them.
If you're an
There you
8,
go.
I'm a 5.
I'm exactly halfway between Jake and Colin. Because I haven't done much this year because with spring football and craziness at school and stuff, I just don't have, I haven't been home as much to, research stuff like I normally would. I would say I have a decent idea of where guys go probably in the first 2 rounds, other than, the crazy,
Trades.
the trades and the crazy falls. I have an idea of okay, in the first round, these 30 guys are going for sure, kind of a thing. I just haven't done that this year. I know a lot of the names, and I kind of have an idea, but I feel like it's going to be a very different draft for me this year watching it because there are names that are going to be drafted. I'm like, who is that? He's what position?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah.
I don't. There are some. I know that name. I don't
God
think I
bless
read
you.
it right the last time.
He's from the Fighting Irish.
The Notre Dames.
Yeah. I am sure that there are bigger draft nerds than I. For example, the draft nerds that I listen to on podcasts and stuff. But
We're talking about draft,
That's
and we're
true.
in a podcast.
True.
So
All right, never mind.
But they get into way more depth, I think, than we do.
Right. Well, a lot of these guys are that's actually their job to do.
They could name all 300 plus players eligible for the draft.
Yeah, like Dane Brugler with
And-
his book that I tried to print today and I couldn't.
Well.
We may have to figure out how I can just get a digital copy to Buffalo Wild Wings.
As I say, you really gonna want to carry
Just
that? Actually,
get it
I
on
kind of want you to carry
I do
that
too.
to Buffalo Wild Wings.
Honestly, having the book's real nice. I was
Yeah,
always, I
we're gonna
always-
need a table for 6. Yes, I know there's 3 of us, but we have this big ass binder.
what team are you representing? So are you drafting from here live?
Yes.
Mobile draft.
Yeah, mobile draft. No, I do like to follow along in the little book, and then I can tell you the pronunciation of names and where they went to grade school and what they like to eat.
And their zodiac sign.
Yeah. But that said, I'm a big enough nerd that, if we were watching the Dolphins and Giants on a Sunday, I'd be like, oh, yeah, I think that kid came out of Akron in the 4th round last year.
Yeah, you're way bigger nerd than me.
Yeah. See, that's
Some
higher
of
than
them
an
I
8.
do
That's
I do
higher than an
remember.
8.
But it's a lot of especially NFC North. I pay especially day 3 of the draft. That's who I pay attention to the most. Maybe I have to remember that name.
Yeah.
Maybe he turns out to be really good and he's gonna crush us.
Maybe if he plays for the Bears, they'll be mediocre to bad.
Well, that's only if they're quarterbacks.
Oh, they suck too. So here we go again.
But again, they don't need one.
At least this year we can go 8 and 9.
True.
Or 9 and 8.
No, let's
Yeah.
be real.
Come on.
Yeah, realistic.
You still get to
please.
play the Lions twice.
Fact.
Okay, well now we're 2 and 15.
Stop. It's Jared Goff. It's not Matthew Stafford.
We beat the Lions twice. That puts us
Well,
2 and 15.
And let's be real. You shouldn't have beat the Lions twice. DeAndre Swift really helped you guys out.
That was just the dumbest thing I think I've ever seen.
Oh, just kidding.
Oh, my bad.
He had money on the game. Fact.
I also am into the draft enough that pretty much when I play Madden franchises, I don't ever actually play games.
You just draft them.
I only do off seasons. And
Off seasons are fun.
I simulate 1 week at a time up till the trade deadline, and then I simulate to the off season after that. It's just so great.
See, you are a bigger nerd than you think.
It's my favorite.
I told you, Ben and I are into that stuff too. We play the games every week, except for like, I think we took the Redskins and won, and we simulated the first season because we traded everyone away and didn't matter if we played or not. The team
Actually,
sucked.
the football team.
Sorry, the Washington football team. But normally we play, but the off season is like we get to play around and hey, what happens if we trade this guy who's really good and we actually like, but we want someone else?
Trading on Madden used to be so freaking stupid, and
Yes.
it's slightly better now.
It's a little bit
Sometimes
easier.
it's still stupid.
Except it's right. There are some that you're like, how are you not taking this? So then you kind of cheat and you create another owner for that team and you do the trade the opposite way, and then you retire that owner.
I've never done that, you freaking cheater.
It's not a cheater. It's a legit trade.
No, it's not.
Sounds
Yes.
like cheating to
It's
me.
not like
No.
we're no.
It's
They
forcing
wouldn't
it
take the
through.
trade,
It's not
so
like
you
we're
create your own
taking-
owner and make the
Stop.
trade go through.
We're not taking like our long snapper who is actually a tight end in the game because they don't have long snapper as a position, and we're trading it for Randy Moss.
He's not.
He's
really-
retired.
That's still not a fair trade.
Of course.
I'm
he's
not
retired.
trading. I'm not trading some backup cornerback for Russell Wilson straight up. Like it's a fair trade.
If the computer rejects it, it seems to me that you
No,
should
because
move on.
there are some in that game you could trade for Quentin Nelson, guard for the Colts.
Yeah.
For like a 4th round pick, straight up.
Okay.
That's not real. No team in the history of ever should do that.
And
if
then
they
there's
do,
some
that
times
owner
where you'll
should
give
die.
like 2 ones and a player.
Yeah, and it's a better player at the same position or at a position that they need, and they're like, "Nah, we're good."
They're like, no, thank you.
Like this guy doesn't even play for you; he's a backup.
It's always hard to trade for Roquan.
Well,
I
that's
always
because
try.
he's young.
I know,
That's the other thing I think that I like that they've changed is the age matters.
definitely.
You used to be able to trade for a young guy who was actually really good for nothing, for an old guy who was mediocre and going to retire. Now you can't do that. So I like that part. Now we're talking fake draft stuff. Jeez.
Well, Jake yawned, and then I started yawning, and then he caught me, and then I started laughing, and it ended my yawn. So now I still kind of have to yawn. Son of a gun. Would you rather be, and my answer's obvious here, a draft pick, living out your lifelong dream, walking across the stage, or be like in a war room, making a pick?
War room.
Same.
I don't know. That's tough.
Based on my age right now, I'm not getting
Yeah.
drafted.
I'm clearly past my prime.
Yeah,
so
ask me a couple years ago, and maybe I would have been like, it'd be cool. Like, it still would be cool to be a draft pick.
I think you're right, but I think War Room would be cool. Like, you got all the lists, all the players. You got whiteboards all over the
Right.
room. You got all the research and all their measurements and their numbers, and it's a analytical game.
Their
in
mother's
the war
maiden
room.
name, their father's.
I think
middle
that'd be
name.
exciting.
I think we should consider that for Thursday. What if we got B-dubs to go and set up a war room in here?
Or you got B-dubs to go and came to my house in the basement with the big screen and had a war room down there.
But what about my book?
You can carry it.
Well, then in that
There's
case,
plenty of room.
That's
You
pretty.
got a bar
changes
down
everything.
there.
It's 800 pages. That's pretty heavy.
It's like the Bible.
It's your Bible.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like working for a team, you get the excitement of the draft every year versus a bigger amount of excitement only one time.
Well, plus I feel like if you're in the war room and like you get that 4th round pick who turns out to be a kick-ass all-pro player, like whatever, or the 7th round pick or whatever, and you like, that's got to give you like a great feeling, like, hey, man, we did all that research and we got
did
this
it.
guy, and now he
Right.
turned out to be great.
Like got this guy, and turns out he sells
it's
meth.
like a diamond in the rough.
But also, I feel like there's much more pressure as a draft pick than someone in the war room.
Oh heavens! Sorry for the interruption, folks. Jake's
We're looking at something right now.
Oh heavens!
There it is.
Not as big as the one the other night.
Yeah,
Definitely fast though. My lord.
look at him.
Talking about draft picks still.
We don't even have anything in here.
That's all right. Tell Kate. You got paper?
You got a piece of paper.
Don't tell Katie.
All right,
All right. So while
you keep it
you're
moving.
taking care
I'm
of
gonna
that,
handle the situation.
Jake and I are going to talk about would we or would you
Where'd it go?
center of the window right
Center.
there. Would you rather be an early draft pick to a shitty team or a later draft pick to a good situation?
That's a tough one because I like the idea of like going to a team and helping to turn it around, make it a winner.
Right.
But I know that I don't know personally, but I believe that NFL careers are short-lived. So it's like, how much time do you have to go somewhere and turn it around and make them a winner?
Right.
Versus just like, all right, this isn't a bad situation. I can come in and help them win, and we're already pretty decent.
Right.
I don't know. That's a toss-up. I think I would rather be a later pick, prove myself on a good team, and become part of a winning team.
I think it would depend on partially the situation. Like, are we talking getting drafted to the Jaguars?
Trevor Lawrence,
Because even at, like, in my head, if I'm Trevor Lawrence, yes, I'm good, but what do they have around me that could actually help me? Because at Clemson, like, he had some pretty good weapons on that offense, and he also had a very good offensive line. And now you're going to a team where, yeah, you're going to be good, but what do you have around you? And maybe they're going to be good. Maybe that's just what they're missing.
Or like all the top draft picks that the Browns have had in the last
And
10,
that
15
was my other
years,
thought
and they
is-
go nowhere.
And they weren't good fits.
No.
I'd rather go to, if I'm going to a crappy team, but I'm a good fit and we just get better, but we're not great, I could deal with that. But if I'm going to even a good team, but I hate being there and I'm not playing, it all depends on the situation of the team.
Like if you got drafted to Oakland and had to live there.
Where?
Oakland. I know they don't.
Who's in
they're
Oakland?
Who
I know
plays in
they're
Oakland?
not there anymore. But
Aren't-
like when Travis was in the draft, I was like, please God, don't go to Oakland.
That was the only one.
I'd love to go to Las Vegas
there,
right now.
There were a couple teams. Baltimore, I think I was not that excited about. I don't know.
I think the fit, you're right with the fit. That makes sense, whether it's a early pick to
There's,
a shitty team
like,
or a later pick
okay.
to a good team. Yeah, it's got to be a fit, but
Right.
put the fit aside and just plain high pick to a shitty team or later pick to a better team. Say it's a great fit either way.
I'm going to go high pick to a shitty team for the reason that you said, being part of the turnaround.
I'm going to stick with my answer and go, I'd rather be a later pick to a decent team, a good team, and like work my tail off and get into it and win with them, because I just still feel like NFL careers are too short-lived. That, like Joe Thomas, great career, went to a crappy organization that his whole career was crappy.
What? He's a Hall of Famer.
Not his whole career, the team
the
for his
team
whole
while
career.
he was there.
Is
They won games.
the big appeal to like being the number one pick that you make the most money? I know that it's not as much money as it used to be with it all being like slotted now,
Right.
but like is that if you're a first round pick versus a fourth round pick, is that like your biggest thing? Is that you're now making less money?
I think it's more to just to say first round.
Yeah, I think it's
compared to
bragging
fourth.
rights. I was the number one pick overall.
Even, Rashad Bateman's going to say, I was 29th overall to Green Bay.
Rashad's lit, but he's going 20 to Chicago.
That's not true. They're not going to take a receiver.
They don't have anyone to throw him to.
Unless we can switch him to quarterback.
My thought on this matter is like Dak Prescott, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Fourth round pick. So he probably, I don't know, didn't make that much money as a rookie. However, he went to Dallas, which, was like a good fit for him and whatever. But also beyond that, it's a nice place to be as the quarterback for America's team.
Sure.
Like, the endorsements and the whole prestige that comes with that situation. Why? I think that more than makes up for that, and maybe like the being a later round pick then adds some fuel to the fire, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
So what's your? Tyler gave his. I gave mine. You are.
I think I'd want to go later in the draft
Okay.
to like the ideal situation, which I know you don't really get a lot of say in.
Right.
But I think that I would prefer that. Whether it's, not even necessarily just like a better team, but just the whole situation all around. Where do you prefer to watch the draft?
So
And how, I guess.
my up until
With whom?
COVID the last year was different, but for like the last 10 years, I got a group of buddies that we get together and go to the Dells, and we get like some sort of a condo or one of the cabins at the wilderness or something, and so we get together. Sometimes there's only like 4 or 5 of us. Sometimes there's like 10, 11 of us. One year we got I don't know if you've ever been to the wilderness, but one year we got like the entertainment cabin. So it had like a monster, like as bigger than this wall screen that came down, projection screen for watching the draft. And it had like theater seating in this room. So we crashed there Thursday night, Friday night, and we go out in the Dells after the draft is over Thursday night. But we sit there. We do a pool with 7, 8 guys. We do a pool and
You build
bet
the
some
pool
money.
in the hotel?
Yeah, they allow us. It's okay. We got permission.
You lay plastic down. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. But that's my preferred way, because then we're with I'm with all my buddies that we've all like done a little bit of research and throw a couple bucks in for a pool, and we get this nice hotel room, and we go get away from things for a couple days. Tyler was able to go with us once. It was a toned down one that he went to, but
Still pretty fun.
yeah, it was still a good time.
Would you say
A
it's
little
possible
crazy.
that Tyler's the reason it toned down?
No, it's not possible.
Would you reconsider that answer?
Not unless you're gonna like hold a gun to my head, which I saw the guns on the floor, so maybe that might happen.
No, those cases are all empty.
Okay.
Nothing in there. So over the years, my draft night / weekend has changed a little bit. Growing up, and even like in high school, I'd watch with like friends, and we would always. So there was one that I remember that me and a couple friends went to another buddy's house, and we each brought our own TV and whatever system we played on, and we had the main TV like on the draft, and then as the draft happened in Madden, we would then create that player to the team that they had.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
And then we did that for like the whole weekend. So we had the entire draft class on
Nice.
Madden, and then like we played the
You're
rest
a
of the
bigger
weekend.
nerd than you admitted earlier.
Well, that was we did that
For sure.
once. Like that was the only time we did it.
Okay.
Like I did it a couple times. Like I'd do like the first round draft picks, but I would do it like for a week after the draft. Like I wouldn't do it that night. And then in college, we would go out and either at a friend's house or we'd go to a bar and like watch the draft. And then, Thursday night, wristbands for $5, all you can drink. So we would stay out and do that. And then, I mean, really last year, just watched at home. Actually, I think me and some friends got on like Zoom or something and
Yeah,
watched
that's
it
what we did.
together. But the year before that, I was up with you guys in the Dells, and that was pretty fun. That was different because that's not like normally we were at a friend's house, or in college we were at someone's house or downtown. Like we never went anywhere for it. So that was different, and that was a lot of fun. So yeah, I've done a lot of different things.
We actually got hats and shirts throughout the years. I think we reached 20 years that this group of guys have been getting together.
I've done so few things for 20 years.
Besides
You've lived.
You've lived for more than
But
20.
like barely. I'm thinking like reading, I'm probably at about 20 years.
Walking.
I I could walk before I was 5.
I'm saying at least 20 years, probably more.
Yeah.
If we're making a list,
Yeah.
walking better be on there. It's going to be a pretty short list. Eating, drinking.
I also have kind of been all over the place, as I've not had 20 years to create traditions.
Okay, I'm old.
Well, you
Yeah, I get it.
That's true. I should have started younger.
should have started younger.
Listen here, Mom. I'm going to the Dells. Colin, you're 5. I'll drive there. Give me the keys. Usually it's with other people is my main thing. But it hasn't always been. And on the times that it's not, I generally have like several things. Like I'll have the TV on ESPN or NFL Network. I don't remember which. It kind of depends on who's on the coverage. But then especially the last several years when I've been like pretty heavy into the following the Cowboys, their like media team is pretty intense. They have a bunch of different podcasts and shit, and they have the draft show, which they have like some Cowboys people and some national people, and talk about the draft like for months leading up to it. But they do like a full coverage of every pick of the draft, all 3 days. So I generally would like have that on and be like listening to them, but watching on TV. I've also been known to go to Buffalo Wild Wings and watch the draft. That's usually fun. I have one actually experience that happened at Buffalo Wild Wings, but I'm going to save that. Otherwise, like last year, we watched it, I think, in Jeter's garage, like just kind of low-key. Everybody brought some food and some beer and did it that way. So do you usually like, well, I suppose if you're in the Dells with a group of people, but like would you do the same thing both nights? Or are you really like focused more on the first round?
We focus on so here's how
I suppose it didn't used to be, it was the first and second or first through third or whatever.
So what we do, how our Dells weekend would go, or Thursday, Friday night, we would stay in the hotel or the room or the entertainment cabin, whatever we're in, watch the first round. When the first round's over, then we hook an Uber or a shuttle or something and go out to a couple bars. And then sleep in Friday because we stay at the Wilderness. We get passes to the water parks. Not saying we would go to all the water parks, but there's a swim-up bar in one that we would basically stay.
I was there.
We basically
at
would
the same time
go there at like 11 o'clock on Friday and leave there at like 6 o'clock Friday in time to get back to watch the draft start again.
How many times did you get out of the pool during the day?
We would make sure we held each other accountable to get out of that swim-up bar. If you weren't, we called people out. Like, dude, you've been here for 3 hours. There's no way that's possible. Get out.
I never got called out.
Cool.
And then we would point out people like,
because you were the new guy.
That guy's been in the pool for 5 hours. Like, he never got out once. So we did that. But
what's your stance on being in the pool then? You're opposed?
It's not acceptable. Mm-hmm. Thank you. But anyway, so then we would go back and watch Friday night's round coverage. And when that was over, then we'd go out again. Probably do maybe 1 bar or 2 bars the same, otherwise some different ones. And then Saturday wasn't a big deal. We might watch a little bit, but usually guys would like start to go home and go back to their families or do whatever because we usually didn't stay Saturday night. So that would be what our weekend consisted
Saturday's
of.
where the real gems are.
It is. That's why we would watch some of it, but like not the whole day and not the whole night.
I'm disappointed.
I'd go home and watch it on my own. Sorry.
What was the question?
Did you do the same thing?
Yeah. Did you just make a big deal of the first night, or?
Always a big deal for the first night. Most of the time, I'm going to sit down and watch the second night. And then if I'm around for Saturday, like I'll have it on in the background. Like I'm not always paying attention. Normally I'll be like, obviously I'll know when the Packers picks are, so I'll try to be able to tune into that stuff. But I'm not. Like, if I'm out and I miss it, like, I'll just kind of, on my phone,
Yeah. Stay
check,
up to
be
date.
like, oh, they got a couple picks left. I'll check in 30 minutes. But Saturday is kind of like well, if I miss it, it's not that big of a deal.
Right, you
Like,
can-
I want
you
to
can
watch
keep-
it,
Well, and there's
but
between ESPN updates and like all the shit like
Right.
you find out. I would tend to agree with that. So, do you have any like memorable draft moments or things that happened, whether that was with your group or with the draft? The one that I thought of was I was at Buffalo Wild Wings in Minnesota, like by the Dick's that I worked at, with a bunch of the guys from Dick's.
bunch of the dicks from
A bunch of the Dicks from Dick's. The Dicks. And that was the night of the Laramie Tunsil gas mask.
Oh, yeah.
And the whole
Oh,
place.
yeah.
It was wild. It was like nobody was really paying attention because nobody gave a shit what the Dolphins were doing.
Yeah.
But then somebody was like, "What is he? Oh my God!" And like the whole restaurant like went crazy. That was probably like my most memorable. Does it make me a bad person? What I meant to say was my most memorable draft memory was when drafts.
I was
got
going to
drafted.
say, that's
I
not
wasn't
gonna
gonna
get
call
mentioned.
him out on air, but
Yeah, no, that was number
Sorry,
one.
Travis. You
No.
take a back seat.
you're
to
number
Laramie
2
Tunsil.
to the
Wow.
gas
He
mask.
was definitely way better. No, actually, that for sure was. That was a fun night. He had some friends down and his agent and whatever, and we actually were just at my parents' house. So that was cool.
Wasn't wearing a gas mask, so it
No
was,
gas mask.
It was
Well,
okay.
No, we just.
That was in the other room.
You're right.
Not going to be on camera with that.
God, come on.
Morons, come on.
So my memorable draft moments. Again, this crew guy's been together for 20 years.
Sorry. Truthfully, when I wrote that question, I was like, I didn't even think about that.
Which one?
That was definitely the
What a
coolest.
jerk face.
It was definitely the coolest, but I was like, oh yeah, remember when Laramie Tunsil had the gas mask?
So my group of guys have been getting together since one of our buddies lived in an apartment in Milton, and so we may have had like a cookout during the day Thursday and like had some adult beverages. And one of our buddies, Bowers, we convinced he was in jeans and Curtis Conway jersey, and so we convinced him. We had another friend he's a little off kilter but a good dude. We convinced them to race on the sidewalk and do a 40-yard dash. And Eric did it barefoot. And of course he got blown out. But we laugh about that. So then fast forward a few years to buddy bought his house in Janesville, and it was a bigger party. We invited some other more friends to it. But we had set up like another 40-yard dash in the street outside of his house. And I wore like one of my pinstripe jersey officials jerseys and had a whistle and a stopwatch. and we recorded it. And so Bowers came out in like these Daisy Duke cutoff jean shorts and like a crop top. He said it was gonna help him go faster and that he'd been training for hours for this. Not days or weeks, just hours. So we got that on video where they ran a 40-yard dash in the street outside my buddy's place. Of course, everybody's like half in the bag, so it wasn't. I think it was like a 12-4 40, and so
I could go do that right now.
those are pretty memorable
I think,
because
I
it
don't
was
know. I don't know.
it was just fun stuff. You know, we all were like, you know, that was our part of our draft combine. I never ran it, but
You should.
the same two guys did. That's what made it more fun.
I think we should all go run 40s right now.
I'm in.
Well, it's dark right now, but soon.
Yeah, sometime.
I'm in the dark.
Maybe before the What the Heck Football League starts up, we can have a What the Heck Football League combine.
Yeah.
And
Captain's got to know who they're drafting.
do important stuff like chugging beers,
Yes.
Shotgunning beers
beer
in
mile.
as little time as possible.
All right, I'm in.
I think my most memorable moment, I don't know how I remember this. I was pretty young. Probably middle school, maybe early high school. I don't remember the year exactly. this player was drafted. But my family and then 3 of my other friends' families, we were all going up to the water park in Green Bay, and it happened to be draft weekend. So like, me and my friends talked about like we need to be there, like so we can see the Packers draft pick, and they were terrible the year before. They like the 5th overall pick. So we're like, we better get up there so we know who they're picking. And of course, I won't name any names, but one of my friends, I think we stopped at the store, a couple of us, and we were gonna get some stuff. And I'm like, no, I'm staying in the car because the pick is coming up, and I'm not gonna miss this because at the time, like, we didn't have,
no cell phones or
like I
anything.
said, I was middle school, so it was probably 15, 17 years ago.
Oh my God!
So
I had a cell
I'm
phone
like,
then.
I'm gonna sit in the car and I'm gonna listen to this. And I remember at the time I wanted a player by the name of DeBrickashaw Ferguson just because of his name.
yeah. Didn't he go to the
And-
Jets?
Yes, he went to the Jets. I believe the pick before, so I was pretty
Yeah.
mad. And then the Packers ended up taking A.J. Hawk, and I was like, oh, what the fuck is A.J. Hawk? Who's that? And he ended up, like, he was a pretty good
He's
player.
pretty solid for him.
But I never let that go that we just drafted A.J. Hawk at number 5. Like, he was a pretty good linebacker for us. And my favorite memory about him was during the middle of a game, he was caught flipping the bird to the sideline. Like, and they kept the camera on it, didn't blurt anything out. And then they showed it again later in the game and talked about how he should have been flagged for it.
He doesn't care.
No, and that was right
I
after he
bet you
cut
don't
his hair.
care.
Oh.
That's when he became worse. Was when he cut his hair.
Yes. I actually liked when
was
he
like
had the long hair.
Thor
I thought
cutting his hair off.
he looked like a douche, but it didn't
Fact.
fit with the Packers. And at the time, I was like, I don't care. We were, I shouldn't say terrible. I think we went like 8-8, but somehow had the 5th overall pick.
Freaking Jayhawk.
Come on.
And finally, who's your team picking Thursday? Your pick for the first round.
I'm not Rashad Bateman. I already know.
I think the Bears need a defensive player. And actually, my buddies and I, well, not all my buddies are Bears fans, so my one buddy and I in particular have been talking about, I can't think of the guy's name now. I just had it.
Tell me about it.
Virginia Tech cornerback,
Oh,
Caleb Farley.
Caleb Farley.
Oh.
We think that he's a good replacement for Kyle Fuller. I'm not sure I agree with them
the
getting
old
rid of
Stone
Fuller.
hands.
Yeah, that was stupid.
Where'd he go again?
I don't know.
Denver.
I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah,
Yes,
Denver.
play with
He,
old
he
Vic.
signed him like 2 hours after he was
Yeah.
released.
However, we're just talking about like he's had some medical issues. I guess Farley has
Caleb Farley
back
has
issues.
like
Did he tear his ACL?
no
2 years
No,
ago?
he had to-
yes, he did.
I was just say 2 years ago. Then came
Yes.
back and was fine.
And
But
he's got like a chronic back thing.
Yeah,
So for a lot of people,
that's
like,
a
dropped
risk
him out
taken.
of the first round.
Right.
He was going to be the first corner taken, more than likely.
Right.
But yeah, that kind of.
And there's a, I can't think of the other one.
Tell me about him as well.
A Notre Dame
Linebacker
Yes.
Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah.
Yeah. We are only.
this would be so much
Jeremiah.
better if you had your.
Yeah, if you had your cheat book here,
Jeremiah
you must have been
Adeochu.
studying it. Yeah, because I definitely think they need some help on defense. So
The thing with him is you have to be. That's one of those guys that like you need to be able to appropriately use a unique skill set.
sure,
Because he's like undersized, or you're gonna use him as a strong safety or as a will, or what are you gonna? So it's possible that with the Bears' new defensive coordinator, maybe he's got some fresh new ideas. It's like a younger guy. Maybe he's gonna be a little bit of an innovator.
Probably not.
Probably not, but maybe. No, that dude's good.
Yeah.
Like,
and if Farley's healthy, he's proven that he's good.
fact.
I mean, so if this back shit gets under control, or if he can work through it, or whatever, I think he's a viable number 1 corner in the NFL.
Well, his thing, he like really doesn't have a lot of a lot of tape, because 2 years ago he was hurt,
Yeah.
and last year
Right.
he opted out.
Right.
And so then he had played like a year of cornerback before that, because he moved from whatever, wide receiver or something in high school.
Right.
So, but like traits wise, he is real strong.
Yep. Tyler's a big
Um,
Rashad Bateman guy, so we
hard
got
to
that.
I
Sky Monroe, the Boca Gophers.
to see Rashad Bateman come to the Packers.
Do you think there's room in the Packers wide receiving core for him though?
Yes.
Where's he fit in?
Number 2.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
MVS is too
Stupid.
spotty with his hands. He could be a great receiver if he could just stop dropping the ball all the time.
Stop, drop,
He
and
would have
roll
had like
if
4
he
more
was on
touchdowns
fire.
last year. And I like Alan Lazard, but he's got injury problems, and
They should have
I-
never got rid of Jake Kummerow.
Kumaro,
Well,
no.
touchdown Jesus.
Or Hawks. Caw, caw.
I liked the days where both with Favre and Rodgers, we had just receivers everywhere. You had
Yeah.
Jennings, James Jones, Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb. Then you threw Devontae in there. Like, that was nice to have those. Like, you had so many options.
And you run out of time with Aaron Rodgers, so
Yes. So I'd love to see that happen. I don't think it happens, though. I
you think he's gone before then?
if he's
Or do you
there,
don't think
they
they'll
better
take
take him, or I might be looking for a new team. I think he's going to be gone before that. I don't think he makes it that far. But I do also see them possibly trading up for a cornerback, because I don't think they trust any of their other cornerbacks other than Jair Alexander,
Who they're going to extend?
who they better.
They're talking about it already.
I don't think in this particular draft that they would have to trade up for a corner.
I don't
No,
think so
but
either.
I think they
It is super deep.
right.
I
But I
think-
think they're looking for a number 1 corner opposite of their number 1 corner, like a Farley or.
But I
a
think you could
Patrick
get that.
Surtain.
You could get that in the second round.
Could,
Or
but
where they are.
I'm telling you,
I don't
Jordan Love is on the table, and someone's gonna bite the bullet,
I don't
and he's gonna
think
suck. But
that they'll, because there's the top 2 corners, and then there's everybody else. Farley kind of fell into the everybody else category with his back thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of Patrick Surtain and J.C.
Northwestern.
Horn.
No, guy from Northwestern.
He's in the second tier.
Stop it.
I assure you. Greg Newsom. He'll be a late first to second round.
Dude, you're definitely a 10.
Hey.
You're not an 8.
We are a late
Nerd.
first round pick, so
J.C. Horn is the son of Joe Horn.
Wide receiver for the Saints.
Correct. The guy that pulled the cell phone out of his sock.
that guy
love
was
Joe
awesome.
Horn.
I liked him.
So those 2 will likely go early.
Yeah.
I think Patrick Surtain's the pick for the Cowboys at 10.
You think so?
Yeah, I do. It'll be between those 2. Like, I really think they're going corner. The only way I would see them not doing that would be if somehow Kyle Pitts still existed, which then I still don't think that you would pick Kyle Pitts, except that he's like a generational talent and you kind of have to. But that'd be
someone is
bananas.
gonna get a phenomenal tight end.
Yeah, they are for sure.
I would be pretty much die of happiness with a healthy Dak and Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, Kyle Pitts, Zeke.
Yeah.
What else could you need?
A healthy offensive line.
I was gonna say,
the
what
defense-
about the awesome offensive line that they had from 3 years ago? That would be good.
The defense, well, that'd be good. I think that the Oregon kid goes early. I think he's likely the first one, Penei Sewell.
Yep.
And the Northwestern kid will be the other one that could maybe go. He might go first. Also good, but I don't think that that's probably the pick there. I think they have to go defense because their defense is poor.
So your second team, the Bears, who are you looking at?
The Bears. I've seen
Trade
Mac
out of the
Jones mocked there a bunch.
I hope not.
I hate
He's not
that.
gonna make it past the 49ers.
He'll be
hate
gone
that so
before
much.
14.
I
or
think he'll be
before
gone,
20.
and I think that's stupid. And I think they could get a quarterback in the second round. The
Yeah.
Stanford kid's decent.
Yeah.
Kellen Mond from Texas A&M is like, both of those guys are more of developmental guys, I think. But you have Andy Dalton to get you through for a year and whatever. If you're not going to get into the top 3 or 4 guys, 3 really, well, 4.
4.
I don't think you can get up high enough to get one of them.
So do you go defense then?
I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy that the Notre Dame kid's good, but I worry. I just don't trust the Bears to
Utilize them
be
correctly.
smart and
Yeah.
do smart things. They could definitely use a corner with Kyle Fuller gone. So that would be an opportunity for old Greg Newsome to stay in the Chicagoland area. I dig that. Linebackers. Penn State linebacker will probably be gone by then.
I think so. I like him, but he won't last that long.
Notre Dame one's good, but is kind of a tweener. There's a real good linebacker from Kentucky that is kind of sneaking into the later first round in a lot of mocks, so that would be an option. I've seen him as high as like the number 1 linebacker for some guys, so that would be interesting. There was a linebacker from the University of Tulsa that showed up to the medical rechecks at 270.
Seems a little big for a linebacker.
Way big.
Like, I don't know, 35 pounds big,
Right.
maybe?
So it seemed the thought was like did somebody tell him that he should put on a few pounds and be like an edge rusher?
Maybe.
But otherwise, or is he just like lazy and got real fat?
Oh, he Eddie Lacy'd it.
He lacied it? I don't know. I hope they go defense. I'd prefer it to be a corner, whether that's Greg Newsome. There's 2 good corners from Georgia that are both kind of in that second round range. Campbell and Stokes.
Julius Campbell?
Eric Stokes.
Calais Campbell.
No, not him either.
Not Julius? Not strong side?
No,
No, left side. Sorry.
left side.
Lamar Campbell.
Or Asante Samuel Jr.
There are so many
yes.
sons of former
there are,
amazing
yeah.
players.
I know. That would be an option. He's kind of small, but is good. So I'm thinking corner or linebacker for the Bears.
We think alike.
I really wouldn't be mad if they went with a receiver. But again, I think in this class that you can find enough value later. But they got to do something. Because Allen Robinson's leaving because they freaking
Hate him.
Rashard Bateman
they dicked around.
at 20,
I would
just to stick it to the pack.
I'd be great with
Do
that.
it. Leaves a corner on the board.
Rashad Bateman would be so excellent. Anthony Miller's been bad, and
Yeah.
they pissed off Allen Robinson, so pretty much their receiving core is going to be a little depleted here soon.
Yeah, a lot.
So that
What
would
if they have a
be-
good year? Will Allen Robinson come back?
No.
No, I think he hates everyone, unless everyone gets fired, then maybe.
God, I hope they don't fire everybody.
To heck.
The heck you got for us?
Okay. Is this the first time I've created something for
I
this?
think so.
Yeah,
it
you
might be.
friggin' bum.
Hey,
Lazy.
I do segment 1 every time.
Ugh.
Yeah, half the time you do it as we're sitting at the table putting our headsets
No one
on.
said I needed to get it in for the outline. All right, so here's what we're doing. In the very little free time I had to prepare for this year's draft, I actually looked back at past drafts. And I came upon an article titled The 100 Biggest Draft Busts of All Time.
Oh.
And I read through it, and I was surprised by some of the higher ones, and I was not surprised at all by like the top 10, because as you would probably guess, the top 10 does not change for many people
Yeah.
in draft bust land.
Mhm.
So I took off of that list of 100, 16 random draft picks. And I would like you two to separately, on your own, as we're going through all of this, create your own bracket, seeded 1 through 16. 1 being
It doesn't
your
have to be in
biggest
bracket
draft
form. I
bust.
can just write them 1
Well,
through
you
16.
can you're just going to seed them. You don't have to
Okay.
create the bracket. But it's who is your biggest draft bust out of these 16. Now, obviously I didn't pick all of the top 10 because I wanted to throw some fun ones in there. And there are some names that I'm like, I didn't know that they were considered a draft bust. And some of them, like,
Sure.
they're only ranked there. Okay. So I have a list there. It's in alphabetical order, but my list that I'm going to go through is in order from 100 down to 1.
You're going to go through all 100?
No, I have them in order. So like The
You
first
go
one I
from
have is number
16 down
96.
to oh.
Like, I have their rank from the top 100, but I'm going to go in that order.
What if we agree with their ranking and put them in that order?
Sure.
All right.
I want to see what you do with this first one because I think you both hate this guy.
Oh, great.
Number
Mitch
96 on the
Trubisky.
list. Mitch Trubisky.
Oh, no way.
I don't know
This-
how there's 95 picks worse than that. When you trade away like your entire future
This-
for 3 years, to
This is
move
the
up one
only
spot
reason
to pick a guy
that I put him on
sucks
here because I
and
you guys are not
that
like
no
it.
one else was going to pick anyway.
So here's what they did. They gave some career stats, and then he has a little write-up.
I don't think he's like that high, though.
So he has him listed as 96. He was the second overall pick. He was drafted ahead of obviously Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes. His career stats right now: he's 29 and 21 as a starter, 64% completion
His
percentage.
stats really are not terrible.
So
No,
you can't
he
call
has-
him a big boss.
He has 10,609 pass yards, 64 touchdowns, 37 picks. He has an 87.2 rating. That's not terrible.
Not bust material. Like
So-
bad bust.
What?
But it's still a bust for what they paid
Yes.
for them.
Correct.
To
Yeah,
move up,
agree.
move up
to
one
move up
One
one
spot.
with a team that was like
Not-
obviously not going to take him.
Yeah.
Correct. So this guy, I'll just read a little bit. He said, "In my honest opinion, Mitch Trubisky isn't a bad quarterback. I believe you can win games with him. The problem isn't Mitch Trubisky; it's the fact that he was taken ahead of Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson.
Right.
If Pat Mahomes and Deshaun Watson are Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, then Mitch Trubisky is Alex Smith." And I thought that was a pretty decent comparison to that class.
He has a robot leg and
He's average.
This is where I thought you guys would agree with him, because he made the playoffs, he's made a Pro Bowl, and he showed flashes both with his arm and his feet. His coach Matt Nagy, however, has tried to implement his system rather than a system that fits his quarterback, and it's caused some struggles for Trubisky and the Bears. And Nagy has continued to deviate from what Trubisky's strengths are.
and he has continued to somehow have a job, even though being a total freaking
Correct.
moron.
He
So I
should be
think
fired.
he's on this list because of what they paid for him.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't be on this list had the Bears gotten rid of Nagy or implemented a different system.
So I can't rank them until I hear them all, though,
So,
right?
well, you can go ahead, like you have 1 through 16, so you can put a number next to them however you want and change it up as I give names. Because some of them you're going to be like, probably who is that? You're going to know all these, I'm sure,
Because you're the
but-
bigger draft
because
nerd.
you're a nerd. So that was number 96, dropping down to number
Cool.
91, and I picked him because I remember thinking he's going to be really good, and he was kind of cool. 91 was Amobi Okoye.
Oh yeah.
Yep, he was a D tackle drafted by the Houston Texans, 10th overall in 2007. Career stats aren't great: 3 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, 16 sacks, 177 tackles, 27 for a loss. He was drafted at 20 years old. He played as a 20-year-old rookie,
I remember him. I liked him.
and he had 5.5 sacks in his rookie year. Pretty good rookie year. And then just really fizzled out. He ended up retiring at 27.
Not bad, brother.
Did he play for Chicago for a year?
He might have.
I think he
I
came to
think he,
Chicago.
like one of the last year or two.
Yeah.
I think he was there.
It wasn't overly productive.
No.
So that one, like I said, I threw him on there because I really liked him in the draft, and he was super young at the time. And I
Yeah.
thought, number 87 on this man's list, the Tim Tebow,
Ah, classic.
drafted with the 25th pick. His career stats are some stats: 8-6 as a starter, 47.9 completion percentage, 2,400 yards, 17 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 75.3 rating. He did have 989 rush yards and 12 rushing touchdowns.
He did win a playoff game.
He did upset the Pittsburgh Steelers. I also liked the way he started his intro. Here come the Tebow Maniacs. Yes, quotes, Mr. Goody Two Shoes makes the list. While some people never forget what a great person Tim Tebow was and is to this very day, they seem to forget that he sucked at being an NFL quarterback. He wasn't good at all. When Tebow was drafted by the Broncos with the 25th pick, people thought they had lost their minds, which
It's
I don't
proven.
blame them. I won't read the rest. It's pretty long. So Tim Tebow is the next one. After that, number 77, dropping 10, Mr. Ron Dane to the New York Giants with the 11th overall pick. He finished his career 3,700 rush yards, 28 rushing touchdowns.
Thunder and lightning, though.
I thought he was going to be much better than he was.
Pretty bad.
I'm kind of disappointed.
Yeah. I kind of agree.
Really, all this guy talks about is how his college success and his college traits did not translate to the NFL like everyone thought they would. He was a situational running back at best.
Oh, the
makes
classic
sense.
Wisconsin running back.
Jonathan Taylor's not situational.
100%. He is.
Neither
right
is
now
Melvin
because
Gordon.
Indianapolis has 18
Two
running backs.
bosses.
Melvin Gordon's not that good anymore.
Psst.
Monty Ball was not
He
good
had
as
some
a
other
pro.
issues going on. Like
James
James
White
White is situational.
Yeah, he's in a Super Bowl MVP, or should have been.
yeah,
Just saying.
running
So-
back you, bro. Don't be jealous.
Ron
That
Dane.
is not running back you.
What
no
is?
freaking way.
Who is that?
Anyone else that has
Oh, come
any
on.
measure of success?
Anyone else?
Like who?
You
Miami.
can't even name
Can't say Alabama.
Miami.
Who
who.
does Miami have?
Edgerrin James.
Willis McGahee.
Frank Gore, Ricky Williams.
Ricky Williams doesn't count.
Yeah.
He got high.
What? Okay. Just saying, all of those guys had way more success than
Any
frickin-
of them potential Super Bowl MVPs like James White? No, none of them. Speechless. You don't
So
even have any.
James White had a good game.
He had a great season. He was the
What?
go-to guy.
All right, we're moving on.
Yep.
This is going to take forever. At number 71, I honestly, I'm not going to lie, didn't know this guy even was drafted into the NFL, but I knew the name right away.
Greg Maddox.
Steve Spurrier.
Interesting.
He was drafted third overall to the 49ers in 1967.
Holy shit.
He
I was
went-
Wow,
even
I didn't
alive.
know he was.
He went 13, 24, and 1. 51.9 completion percentage,
Wow, he
6,900
sounds
pass
sucky.
yards, 40 touchdowns, 60 interceptions.
Jesus. When did he get drafted overall?
1967.
But what pick?
3.
Bad call.
He came out of Florida. Here's part of. So he was drafted. They had a Pro Bowler by the name of John Brody at the time. So Spurrier wasn't going to play for a couple years. That, they say, demotivated him, and he just didn't care. And he admitted as much and just said he wasn't very ambitious. So he got paid a bunch of money to be a backup and couldn't handle it. But I had to throw him on there because Steve Spurrier is
Yeah, it's a big name.
Steve Spurrier.
Oh, Wes Courier.
Number 63, Roberto Aguayo, kicker
Oh my God, he's
for the Tampa Bay
worst.
Bucks. He was drafted in the second round, 59th overall in 2016.
And he's awful.
He went 22 for 31, which is a 71% field goal percentage. It was.
He
So-
might be the number one. To draft a kicker in the second round is unheard of. And then for him to be freaking terrible.
In attempts from 40 to 49, he was 4 for 11. That's where
Wow.
almost all of his misses came from.
Is that good?
But to take him in the second round, that's a lot. He was let go after one season.
And then he tried out for the Bears and didn't make it on their freaking carousel of shitty, horrible kickers.
Oh, that was a good one. All right. Number 52, Brady Quinn to the Cleveland Browns. He was only 22nd overall. I thought he went much higher than that. He went 4 and 16, 53.8 completion, 3,000 pass yards, 12 TDs, 17 picks, 64.4 rating. He slid to 22. Was supposed to be a top pick. He was very impressive in his preseason, but they started Derek Anderson over him. And Anderson led the Browns to 10 and 6 that year and went to the Pro Bowl. So they also the next year started Derek Anderson over him. Then Romeo Crennel was fired and Brady Quinn was not seen as the quarterback of the future. He was just thrown in to do whatever. So maybe he wasn't a bust, but they just kind of screwed him over. Plus, it was Cleveland. Number 42, another quarterback, this time in the NFC North, Christian Ponder
Oh, yeah.
to the
bad.
Minnesota Vikings at 12 overall. I wish he was still in Minnesota. That would be awesome. He went
I'd go for
14,
that.
21 and 1, 59.8 completion percentage, 6,600 pass yards, 38 TDs, 36 picks. He was a shocking top 15 selection in the NFL draft. Wasn't expected to go that early. Or at all, because he was projected to go late second, early third. All right. We don't need to read all that stuff. After that, another NFC North quarterback, Joey Harrington, Detroit Lions, 3rd overall.
What number is he on the bust list?
Number 36. Finished 26 and 50, 56% completion percentage, 14,700 pass yards, 79 touchdowns, 85 interceptions, 69.4 rating.
Nice.
I dig it.
To be fair to Joey Harrington, he couldn't have gotten drafted into a worse situation. The Matt Millen Detroit Lions was probably the worst
bad.
era of Lions football history. Unfortunately, Harrington, a young promising quarterback, was part of it. Had to endure multiple wide receiver flops and other draft busts. And I, on purpose, I don't think I picked any of the wide receiver picks for the Lions because they were all that bad. Charles
Yep.
Rogers,
Yeah.
Mike Williams. Yikes.
Mike Williams was worse than Charles Rogers.
What about Mr. Fred Rogers?
No, he was good. I liked him.
He was pretty
Success.
The next one, number 32 after Joey Harrington, Deion Jordan, DN for the Miami Dolphins, was
Yeah.
taken 3rd overall. That's pretty high. 13.5 sacks, 108 tackles, 14 for a loss, and 5 interceptions as a D end. But I think he played more outside backer for a while. He converted from tight end / receiver to a D lineman after his freshman year at Oregon. So he made the switch in college.
I feel like he had a brief stint with the Bears also.
I think he did for a year.
Didn't do anything also.
No.
His biggest problem, kept violating the substance
Drugs.
abuse policy.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm always doing drugs.
Apparently, he played this past year, though. He had an okay season as a backup for the Seahawks in 2020.
Huh.
Who knew? Not this guy. Number 31, Trent Richardson for the Cleveland
Yeah.
Browns. 3rd overall in 2012. Finished with 2,000 rush yards, 17 touchdowns, 912 receiving yards. He looked like a good player in his first year and a half. However, just 2 games into his second season, the team traded him to the Ravens, I believe, right?
I think so.
Yep.
And what did they get for that pick? A 2014 first-round pick. I won't say who it is yet
Because he's on the bust
he's on
list.
the list. And if you guys want to hear a cool story about Trent Richardson, ask Ben the Robber, because he knows a guy who works in the Canadian Football League
You're
for the
telling me
team
about
with
that.
Trent. He's got some pretty funny stories about him. Yeah. We're going to make a big jump. That was 31. We're jumping all the way to 17.
Hit me.
Brian Bosworth.
Yeah.
Oh, did I? Hold on. I might just.
The Boz?
Yeah, the Bos.
Love that guy.
The Boz.
He was a linebacker taken by the Seattle Seahawks first overall in 1987, and it was a supplemental draft, but he was still taken first overall. And it starts, this man wasn't a very good football player at all. He was a great market machine. Bosworth and his advisors did a great job of marketing
The
him
Boz.
as a superhero bodybuilding linebacker that was going to be the next superstar of the NFL. The Seahawks bought into the ridiculous hype and took Bosworth with the first pick. It was a farce. Bosworth was a farce, and his career-defining moment was the iconic broken tackle by Bo Jackson, who sent Bosworth flying out the way
Just
as he
smoked
skipped
him.
into the end zone for a touchdown. We should find that.
Yeah, that's a great clip.
He was drafted in 87 and retired in 89.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
pretty
thought he was in longer than that.
Yep.
You guys weren't even born then.
No, but I know.
I
I've
remember
heard enough of it.
89.
Also, I lied. We're gonna go back to that Trent Richardson thing. I didn't add that one pick. It was Johnny Manziel. That's who they took with that pick they got back for the trade.
Oh.
I didn't put him on the list because we already put a Browns quarterback on here.
You could have like 3 Browns quarterbacks if you wanted.
A lot. Brandon Whedon.
Yeah.
Number 10. Kajana Carter. Cincinnati Bengals, first overall, 98. 1,100 rush yards, 20 touchdowns. Kajana continues the legacy of the curse of the Penn State running back. Injuries would be the downfall of the once promising prospect. You have to give him credit for being resilient and not giving up. He would fight for roster spots over 7 seasons.
Jeez.
I don't even remember him really being in the league, and that's
do.
like, I mean, I was 8 years old when he was drafted. I don't really remember him. I know the name for sure.
I do, just because I was
That's it.
older than 8.
Sure, you're already like 50 and going to the Dells.
From number 10 to number 4, and this one hurts me. Tony Mandrich.
Dude, how's he not 1?
Come on. You know who number 1 is. He was in 86 games, 63 games started. No real stats that they had because he sucked.
What draft pick did they spend on him?
Second. This man was supposed to be the greatest offensive lineman prospect of all time. That was what Mandrich was dubbed in an infamous Sports Illustrated cover in 1989 before the NFL draft. He was 6'6", 330, and pure muscle. Wasn't built like your typical offensive lineman, had very little body fat, and his pre-draft hype grew further at the NFL Combine. He bench pressed 225 39 times.
Jesus.
He ran a 4.65 40.
What?
At 330 pounds?
How is he not good? He failed to win the left tackle job. Played right tackle, where he was horrendous. He was also getting smaller in size because he was no longer on PEDs,
Well, that'll happen.
which is why he was so big. He was cut in 1992.
That was the infamous Tony Mandrich over Barry Sanders draft.
Yes.
Sorry to bring that up to
No,
all
that's
the
why I
Packer
put him on
fans.
here. He did apparently. I didn't know this. He made a decent comeback with the Colts.
I do
and
remember
he started
that.
at right tackle for 2 years.
I do remember that.
And then I like this. Mandrich's iconic Sports Illustrated cover, The Incredible Bulk, was
Yep.
infamously replaced with another cover of him, The Incredible Bust. Not wrong. So he was number 4 on this list. I wish I would have put number 3 on here because I don't remember who it was, but we've got 2 and 1. Number 2, Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah.
First overall, 2017. Didn't realize he played in this many games, but he went 7 and 18 as a starter. 4,000 pass yards, 18 touchdowns, 23 picks. Here's the one thing that I'm going to...
If it's the story I'm thinking of, I'm going to tell it,
it
if
has
it's
to be.
not.
Former teammate Kirk Morrison tells a couple of instances to which Russell displayed his red flags in his time with the Raiders. One of which was a time where a coach gave Russell a blank DVD that supposedly had a list of plays for Russell to take home and study. Russell comes into practice the next day, and the coach asks Russell what his favorite plays on the DVD were. Russell lies and says he likes all the plays and is fine with all the plays on the tape. There were no plays on the tape, and it exemplified Russell's carelessness and unprofessionalism.
He also said he learned about the blitz packages,
Yes.
and there was nothing on the tapes.
It just goes to show you that the NFL is a grown man's league, and you cannot be lazy, not put in the work, or act unprofessionally and expect to be given another chance. So he's number 2. Number 1, I think everyone listening to this should probably know, at least based on the list, is Ryan Leaf, Los Angeles Chargers, second overall pick in 98, behind Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning, yep.
He went 4 and 17, 48% completion, 3,700 yards, 14 touchdowns, 36 interceptions. There was one little section I want to read. It was well known that the Chargers would take whoever didn't go first to the Colts. The Colts were split in the war room. Half the room wanted Leaf, the other half wanted Manning. Ultimately, the Colts made the right decision. I don't care what GM at the time, Bill Polian, said about the 98 draft. He got lucky and he knew it. He didn't like Manning much more than he liked Leaf, and it wasn't an easy and obvious decision like he claimed at the time. He did go 2-0 in his first 2 games, and then in the third game, that's where it went to go downhill. He went 1 for 15 with 4 yards, 2 picks, and a fumble.
Nice.
Yikes! He was a backup for a year in Dallas.
That is confirmed.
I think I remember that, but he also got into a scuffle where he berated a reporter, and I kind of want to find that video just to see what happened. So those are your 16 top 100 draft picks. Let's just rank them 16 to 1 for you.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are going to be pretty hard, I think. Though I think I know who your guys' number one's going to be. I'm guessing.
Nope, you don't. Trubisky is not my number 1.
You're lying.
I'm not lying.
No, not lying.
Do you have them all written down? Otherwise, I have a list here.
Nope,
for
I
you to
got them.
look at what picks they were, what year. I still can't get over the Steve Spurrier thing. Cricket.
We're working.
I know you're working.
It's bad radio, but it's fine.
No, it's going to be great. Everyone's probably super excited to hear what you got. We'll just play some music during this time.
Just play some friggin' music with
I'm
your
done.
mouth.
It was a contest to see who got done first, too, right?
Yep.
Yes, it won.
Speed counts.
I get an extra point for that.
Now the clock is running on Colin. Time counts. Every minute loses a point.
Oh, riding time.
Yes, pretty much. You know who has a lot of riding time?
Gable.
Not Gable.
Yeah, he can't ride anybody.
He's going to lose at the
Allegedly.
Olympics, too, by the way. Just kidding. If Gable's listening, you're going to win it all.
Did you hear his quote when they said, it's something
He has a
about
1/6 chance.
Yeah,
Like,
you have a
yeah,
1 in
the
6 chance,
M&M's
and he's like, no,
they
they
got
have a
a
1 in 6 chance of getting me.
Like, that's not how math works, but I like your attitude.
He came from the right place.
Yeah, I know what he was trying to say. He didn't have a lot of time to crunch the numbers in his head. I know what he meant.
You done, Big C?
Yeah, guys.
Big shoots.
Let's do it.
All right. How do you want to do this? Do you all want to go through your own list? Do we want
No,
to
let's
each
just
name
go
16
numbers.
down?
We'll go back and forth
All right.
numbers.
Starting with 16.
I think Leaf.
Mitch
Oh,
Trubisky.
16, sorry.
Yeah, we're going 16.
Oh, you're going the other way.
Sorry.
I got Okoye at 16.
I think that makes sense.
I went with Mitch.
At 16?
Yep.
That
Because
makes
I don't
sense.
think he was a bust. I think he played for a fucking stupid organization.
Wow,
Organization
I had
or
him high.
coach?
Coach and
Yes.
GM.
I had him a little higher than 16, but that's fine.
All
I
right.
mean, I think that... No, he was a bust. I probably fucked that up.
Thought they got a.
But
I don't think they needed a
he's
trade
a
up
bust
for him.
because
The reason-
they way overpaid.
Yes,
Yes,
that's the reason
that's
I put
why.
him a little higher on my list is because
He's
for
gonna have
what
a
they
decent
did,
career.
he would be classified a bust for what they paid for him.
Right.
That's like you went out and paid $75,000 for a 1989 Ford pickup truck.
Oh, I
Hey,
could go
man.
get you one of those.
Yeah, I'm a huge Ford guy.
He's going to have a
I
great
know,
career
that's
as
why I
Josh
said that.
Allen's backup. Okay? It's gonna be great.
fact.
All right,
All right,
15.
15.
Ron Dane.
Deion Jordan. Because while pretty shitty for as high as of a draft pick he was, like, he's still around, you know?
Yeah,
That's
I
true.
see that. I put Dane down there. Maybe I'm biased because I'm Badger, but also I do think for a few years when it was like Tiki and him, the Thunder and Lightning thing, like that was a pretty successful duo
Yes.
for the Giants. And yes, he's a situational running back, so maybe that's why,
Classic
at
Wisconsin.
10, whatever. But
Yeah, he was.
I think
drafted 11,
he had some success, overall. So in the right spot, I guess. Sorry,
All right, 14.
Joey Harrington.
Tim Tebow.
I thought that
Whoa.
Harrington was always, like, decent. He was around when I was, like, growing up, and he was, like, never like, oh, my God, this guy is terrible.
Again, it was the Lions.
Yes, he just played for a terrible
How
team.
much off of Joey Harrington? How much better would Matthew Stafford be in any other organization?
100%.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh,
And maybe I
Or
underestimated Tebow. He
Barry
should have been a little
Sanders
higher on that
or
list too.
Calvin Johnson.
Yep.
That's where careers go to die. So you had Tebow at 14.
Yeah, I probably should have moved him up. I probably messed that
He
up.
won a playoff game. He beat the Steelers. They were weren't they the favorites that year? They were pretty high
They
up.
were pretty
there.
high up. Yeah.
It's hard to do.
13, I had Amobi Okoye.
I had Steve Spurrier.
Pretty bad, pretty short career.
He had a lot of interceptions for playing.
He had a lot of
Half a
interceptions.
season.
Yeah. Maybe he should have been higher too. I don't know.
I don't know.
But I don't know enough about him. Like other than just reading his stats.
Right.
Like
You don't know what he likes to have for breakfast, or
yeah. I mean, I don't know what his sign is either.
12. I had Tebow.
I had Jordan.
It's hard to knock people for drafting a Heisman winner at
25.
25 or 26 or whatever.
Yeah.
Granted, his skill set was pretty limited coming out of college, but you still imagine that you can carve out some kind of role for that, I would think.
And that's kind of when I looked at Dane at 14 or 15. That's kind of what I thought. Heisman Trophy winner, all-time leading college rusher. Like he's got to be able to do something.
Moneyball, yeah.
He wasn't the Heisman Trophy winner
No, but he was
or the
close.
all-time leading rusher.
Close.
Anyway.
No.
Number 11, Roberto Ogayo.
Steve Spurrier. Wes Courier.
Aguayo sucks.
He's just friggin' horrible.
Should have been higher, maybe.
They all suck. Let's be real.
10, I had Brady Quinn.
I had Brady Quinn as well.
Whoa.
Nice.
Booyah!
You guys each get an airhead.
Nailed it.
Yeah, suck it, everybody.
Number 9, I had Mitchell Trubisky.
I had Kajana Carter.
Mm.
I don't know. It just seems like that's awfully high to be really not that productive.
First overall. It's not great. Also, the Bengals need to stop drafting running backs because they're killing them.
Confirmed.
Agreed. Number 8, I had Joey Harrington here. As much as he threw the ball around and the Lions were pretty shitty, like, I mean, they drafted him 3. Like,
Yes.
that's still some of that.
pretty high.
You'd think he would have some skills.
I had Christian Ponder because he had no skills.
Yes.
What? Stop. He got all of us extra wins every year.
At 7, I had Christian Ponder.
I had Ron Dane.
Wow, that hurts.
That's not as low as I thought you were going to have him.
Pretty.
I thought you'd put him in the top
bad.
5.
Wow.
I mean, it's pretty close.
That
You got him at
hurts.
7, but
Number 6, I had Kajana Carter.
I had the Boz,
Mm.
though he probably could have been higher also. Playing 2 years is not really.
Yeah.
yeah.
He moved up my list because of that.
Plus, I really want to watch him get trucked again.
That's
pretty
Such a
good.
great
Awesome.
video.
Number 5, I had Trent Richardson.
I had Roberto Aguayo because he's horrible.
I should have moved him up higher. I underestimated him.
Nah. He
or
made a couple
overestimated him.
Kicks. He was 3 for 4.
He had 70% field goals.
That's 7 out of
That's
10.
horrible.
That's Hall of Fame batting average and basketball.
He's not a baseball player or a basketball player. He's a kicker who should be doing 90%.
Hey, if he missed, though, he probably just missed it clean. He didn't hit the post twice.
He's stupid. They're all stupid. 4, I had Tony Mandrich.
4, I had the Boz.
I love Manwiches, and that's why I put him there.
I, at 3, had Tony Mandarich.
And I went with Trent Richardson because he, too, is shitty for taking a running back that high.
Yeah, totally
That-
agree. Number 2, I had Jamarcus Russell.
I had Ryan Leaf.
Oh, you flip-flopped those two,
And
huh?
then we flip-flopped. Jamarcus was just such a
I would have
fat
also put
piece of
Jamarcus at number
garbage.
1. I'm not sure what else I would have done.
See, I put Leaf at number 1 just because of the complete
Because you like
meltdowns that
nature.
Leaf had. Like Jamarcus was just kind of like, dude, whatever. Like I'm just
fat.
not gonna do any work, and I'm gonna gain 40 pounds. I'm gonna be lineman size, and this is just me. Whereas
He could
Leaf would
throw a
come in
ball
and
120 yards.
want to kill the press and fight his teammates and throw his helmet.
Hard to blame
and-
a guy.
The other reason I would put Russell ahead of Leaf is Russell was number 1, Leaf was number 2.
Yeah, I suppose that's
Nice. So
yeah.
I win.
If Manning goes second after Leaf, then Leaf is number 1 for sure. Especially after his third game, 1 for 15, 4 yards, 2 picks.
Yeah.
You can't have
Pretty tough.
half your amount of yardage in interceptions. That just You can't do that.
Yeah,
Not going to have a long career.
definitely agree with you there.
We're only 2 days from the draft. Actually, we'll be on day 3 of the draft when. Oh no, draft will be over when people are listening to this. Forgot we don't do Saturdays anymore.
Katie's gonna hate this episode so much.
Well, Katie will get over it.
It's also an hour and a half long.
I thought it was much shorter, but sorry everybody.
Most people didn't make it this far.
If you did, you're our special winner
You're
of our love.
Special
Actually, no.
winner.
If you are hearing this right now, I invite you to come have a beer. Not
Talk about the draft.
You have to talk about the draft with us, but you get to come have a beer and hang out.
Because you're a true fan.
Which reminds me, we should go listen to True Colors from Trolls.
Oh.
JT and Anna Kendrick.
Love them both together.
All right, folks. For a couple of wannabe draft experts, we hope your team doesn't do a bunch of dumb shit this weekend.
I hope your guys'
I'm
team
afraid-
does.
Fingers crossed.
I'm afraid that ours will. But until then, until next week when we can vent about how mad we are about how things went.
Draft episode number 2.
For Jake Reese and Tyler Heck, I'm Colin.